And the referees are making Amir Coffey inbound the basketball with .2. And that will do it. Far more important things than basketball tonight. And we will step aside. Adam Osland will take you the rest of the distance. Stay safe, everyone. Continue to listen to the evacuation orders. And please, please, please charge everything you have. Keep your house cool. Final score in this one, 126-103. Denver takes down the Clippers for the second time this season. For Carlo Jimenez, Jesse Trujillo, Dan Collins. We'll see you in a few. Final score, Clippers fall by 23 and drop to 20-17. On the season, they will play Saturday against the Charlotte Hornets next. That's at 7:30. See you in a few. Here to Clippers Audio Network.
Clippers fall in Denver by a final score of 126-103. Welcome into your post-game show. I'm Adam Osland. Coming up, we'll have your post-game box score. We'll have Clippers talk on AM 570 LA Sports. 866-987-2570 is the phone number. But first, we're going back to your radio voice of the Clippers from Ball Arena in Denver in Carlo Jimenez. Carlo, we kind of talked about it as this game was winding down, but understandably so. It just looked like a team tonight that didn't have it, and their minds were elsewhere, as you would expect, as they should be, with the wildfires affecting everyone in Southern California right now. And this Clippers team, they just didn't look like themselves from the outset.
No, and this was a Denver team who thought they lost one last night in this building. Felt like they were out for a little bit of a revenge at them, and they clearly started the game on fire And it just felt like that first punch from Denver. I mean, when a team starts 11 for 14 from three, it's going to be hard to win no matter who you are. But considering the circumstances for this Clipper group, just never really able to get back into this ball game against Denver. Credit the Nuggets. I thought they played really well tonight, Adam. They dominated the glass. They finished with 29 assists. They shot over 55% from three. They had 7 offensive rebounds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but then you look at the second chance points, and it's in double figures for them. So 15 on 7 for 9. A tough one for the Clippers. I mean, and I think all you can take away is let's head home, because this Clipper team has had 2 road games since December 9th, which is a month. And if you think about everything else that's going on, plus already some fatigue for this group, they just feel like they want to be back in their beds and consoling their loved ones. So for the Clippers, you just move on. I think one positive to take away, Adam, is they got to the line a lot more than they ever have all season. They attacked downhill. They were able to put the pressure on the interior on Denver in this game. They finished the game active in the paint. So I think that's a good sign for the Clippers, being able to get downhill. You struggle shooting the 3 ball, which has kind of become a trend, Adam. Clippers are hovering 30% in their last 9 games from the 3-point line. Coming into this one, they were at 32% in their last 8, and then they shoot 29% tonight from 3. And we've seen this team, for one reason or another, I don't know why, but kind of go in 10-game ebb and flows with their 3-point shooting. They have not been able to stay uber consistent throughout the season, which you understand in the course of a long season. But you just hope the Clippers can get home safely. That's what matters at this point.
Yeah, and anyone that doesn't show any empathy for this team and says, well, no excuses for this performance. Hey, Russell Westbrook has family in Southern California. He lives here and he plays well. It affects everybody differently. Can we not do this? Can we just not tonight? Norm Powell had 30. Sure, he had a good game. Did the Clippers look like they were connected out there? Like different individuals or different guys are going to respond differently, and they already had a player leave in Kawhi Leonard to head back as his family had to evacuate earlier today. So, guys, if you could just show a little bit of grace and sympathy for a squad that obviously has a ton on their mind back in Southern California right now. And I'm not saying everything is excusable because the Clippers lost big and we can just blame everything on it, but I think it's okay to flush this one. I think it's okay to turn the page on this ball game and not make wide-reaching conclusions for why the Clippers lost this game tonight and do a ton of over-analysis when it's just not as serious as what's happening here with the wildfires in Southern California. Again, we want to encourage you, if you need coverage on that, KFI AM 640 is where to find it. Carlo Jimenez, appreciate you, my friends. We will see you hopefully back at the Dome on Saturday night. Clippers taking on the Charlotte Hornets. Tip off at 7:30. Pre-game at 6:30. Great call as always. We'll talk to you on Saturday, Carlo.
Stay safe, Adam. Stay safe, Daniel. I'll talk to you guys on Friday. Add into it. We got another one. I'll give a let's go for that.
I'm with you, brother. We'll talk to you on Saturday. Coming up next, we will talk about the second half of this one. Get to the post-game box score and more. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Come on. Can't beat it, can't beat it, can't beat it, can't beat it. Some of y'all are really disappointing me in the chat tonight. I'm going to be blunt about it. The way it was worded, Kawhi, is he going to step away for multiple games? It's just a day-to-day thing. It's like, how about we stop worrying about the game for 2 seconds? I get some people just want the distraction, but I feel like there needs to be an emphasis on priorities here. I'm not trying to act like I'm morally superior to anyone, but my God. I woke up today looking outside, looked like Mordor, and wondering if Griffith Park right across the street from me was going to light up. And I was trying to think of how I was going to handle the situation and what I would grab from my house, from my apartment. Others, they lost their homes. And some people are going nuts tonight over this loss by the Clippers and talking about where was the effort, and they didn't look locked in and focused. And it's like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Like, the amount of people that actually think athletes are just robots. Maybe it's too much video games. I don't know what it is. You can't turn the sliders off. You can't turn the human emotions off. I think it's understandable that the Clippers had a defeat like this. They lost 126-103 in Denver to the Nuggets. Kawhi Leonard left to be with his family that had to evacuate earlier today. And the Clippers came out completely flat and just never really clicked in. And they got beat by 23 in Denver to the Nuggets. All right, I'll try to distract you coming up next. I'll try to get to the post-game box score, but I keep getting inundated with people in the chat here at Clippers Talk on the YouTube side, trying to turn this into something more when it's a bad loss in an understandable fashion, given everything going on here in Los Angeles with the wildfires. If you need more coverage on that, KFI AM 640. I'm Adam Osland. You're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. I guess I just can't relate. Doesn't make me a good person, but some people immediately after the game were like, "Well, when's Kawhi back?" What are we doing? I don't know. Come on. Have a little bit of compassion, a little bit of sympathy for what is happening and what has occurred in our own backyard here in Los Angeles. Kawhi comes back to be with his family as they had to evacuate. The Clippers get rolled in Denver. Maybe their hearts, minds weren't in it. They lost 126 to 103. It's just, if you want to talk about effort tonight and be a body language expert out there, then maybe attach what's happening in Los Angeles to this loss just a little bit, because it might have played a role tonight. Clippers ended up shooting 38% from the field, 11 of 38 from distance. That's less than 30%. Denver felt like they couldn't miss. I believe they started 10 of 13 or 10 of 14 from three. 49% is what they shot in the game from the outside. They shot 55% from the field. Both teams had 12 turnovers. Denver had 29 fast break points. The Clippers, 16. Denver averages 20 per game. They had 18 fast break points in the first half. Second chance points, Denver 15, Clippers 9. And they're really good when it comes to paint points, even without Jokic, apparently. 56 to 24. They more than doubled the Clippers up there. They were led by Jamal Murray. With the starters, he had 21. All 5 starters for them were in double figures. Russell Westbrook with 19. DeAndre Jordan, 12. Michael Porter Jr. with 19. Christian Brown with 15. Julian Strawther, who hit some big threes as they opened things up in the first half, up by as many as 25. They led by as many as 29 total in the game, but Strawther, 4 of 8 from distance. Your Los Angeles Clippers were led by Norman Powell with 30. Ivica Zubac with 10 and 8. James Harden, just 5 of 15, 16 points. Off the bench, Kevin Porter Jr. with 10. Clippers lose by 23 in Denver to the Nuggets. I will try to offer the distraction, but it's hard when a game goes like this to expand too much upon it. I think I have an idea why the Clippers came out and looked that flat. And maybe some of you are attaching this to other performances and saying, no, this is a trend. This is a pattern right now. Maybe it's a one-off. Maybe it's just the circumstances today being a little bit different. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about Charlotte coming to Intuit Dome on Saturday. Should they be able to play that game? We'll give you an update. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.
My new destination, I think in miracles. It's my imagination. Dreaming of a
Clippers get throttled in Denver and lose 126 to 103 to the Nuggets on a day where much more important things are going on and affecting everyone here in Southern California. If you need more coverage on that, KFI AM 640 has around-the-clock coverage of the wildfires that are continuing to spread here. I'm Adam Osland. Welcome into Clippers Talk. Obviously, it's going to be a different type of show. It's going to be difficult to talk about a game or a team during times like this. I hope the majority of people in here can be understanding to that. Some are so focused on Kawhi. Tom Raines says, I do understand, Adam, but out of all the Lakers and Clippers, he is the only one that left. Is that what you're saying about Kawhi? JJ Redick's family lost their home, I believe. I wouldn't want to work either, but damn. Great. How about it's an individual decision and we don't try to blame somebody for wanting to go home and be with their family that had to evacuate? You're really going to point to that? Well, other players weren't doing it. Why'd Kawhi do it? If he wants to prioritize that, I don't know how you can blame him. I don't get what we were doing, but you guys, this is the real defeat tonight. How many people in here that have their priorities out of whack? I thought I was messed up. I get it. The Clippers lost by 23. It was a huge game. They lost the head-to-head tiebreaker. Now it goes to conference record. I mean, how many people know someone or are affected directly or indirectly by this? Like, I'm wondering, at some point, do we got to leave the station? 710 has been off the air. Their transmitter got burned up in Altadena. I don't think it's deflecting or making excuses when the Clippers lose by 23 and Kawhi wants to go home, given the circumstances of what we're dealing with. I don't think some people understand, or they don't want to, or ball is life to the point that maybe it shouldn't be this much. I'm thinking of my guy Dime Dropper, Darian Vaziri, lost everything. I don't know how I'm supposed to just talk about the game and break down a game that was over from tip-off. This is the ultimate turn the page, flush it. What does it matter? Big picture, what does it matter? Someone's saying, well, there are better things than basketball right now. I was so heated that I wasn't thinking properly. Maybe you just want the distraction. Even if it's being mad at a team for losing by 23, and that's something that gives you anything else to think about, and maybe that's all it is. I just don't understand the lack of empathy by some out there right now with Clipper Nation or NBA fans. I'm not trying to get up on my high horse or act morally superior than anyone. I'm not. I'm just extremely disappointed with the fringe few right now who are acting like these players are robots and what's happening in Los Angeles shouldn't be weighing on them whatsoever, or shouldn't just be more important than, I don't know, losing by 23 at Denver. It sucks. I also, I've already kind of moved past it. And I hate doing this stuff. I know some will view it as being self-righteous or something for shaming the few extreme people that are being disgusting anonymously on social media. I know it's easy. These things happen all the time. You can always make a video or do a podcast about how disappointing people are if you seek out the most debased individuals, the extreme out there that try to act like they are the majority because they're so loud sometimes. It's cheap. It's easy. I usually roll my eyes when people try to make an example out of someone who obviously represents the vocal minority of dog crap human behavior. And it usually looks like it's just an opportunity to be self-serving and get content out of it. I'm not just talking about Joey Swole, who I like. Many take advantage of the dumbest of the dumb to try and set an example of correct behavior, but it's really just a front for clicks. Maybe that's what I'm doing. Or it just is so shocking to me in a situation like this that some of these people who have been following me and talking to me on X or elsewhere about the Clippers for a while, and now they show their true character in moments like this. I'm not trying to act like I'm a great person at all. I'm not. We're all flawed. But my God, just the bare minimum you could do is have a little bit of understanding in a situation like this, which is so tragic, where people's lives are being completely upended. Because I guess me pointing out the Clippers might have had more on their minds tonight, understandably. Some are saying that's just an excuse. You're excuse making for them. Where's the accountability? It's like, I don't know, man. Maybe your morals and priorities are just completely out of whack. I was staring earlier today at Griffith Park across from me and wondering about the vegetation across the street and if it's going to catch on fire at some point. And what's my escape plan? What do I grab? Others are in a much worse situation where they're staring at a smoldering lot that used to be their home or have lost loved ones. Like, insurance doesn't replace everything. There's this guy from Australia, I guess, at Move On Job on X telling me, who's been talking to me for a while about the Clippers. He's basically telling me to move on. He says, quote, Adam, mate, we in Australia deal with this on a yearly basis. Stop giving them excuses. Because I point out the Clippers might be thinking about other things. Let's compare tragedies. Let's talk about who's got it worse. That's really what we're doing. Some saying Kawhi is just looking for an excuse not to play basketball. A lot of those ghouls are on social media, out and about. The lack of sympathy and empathy for someone because they make a lot of money is just, I don't know, it's sad. Like, I get it. It's fun to think Kawhi is a robot. He's not. Maybe I've been around athletes or celebrities enough and I'm the privileged one or something. And I can understand that they're not that much different. They can struggle with the same things that we do. Maybe money doesn't solve everything. I am just, I don't know. I would love if tonight we got a close game or a Clippers victory or anything but this outcome, because now it's just gross that I have to talk about other things like this and people not giving the bare minimum of, I don't know, grace in a situation where people are dealing with some of their worst life situations that you could imagine. We'll take a quick time out. We'll look for post-game audio from Coach Lou. We'll play what he said earlier in the pregame show. Clippers lose by 23 in Denver, 126-103 to the Nuggets. Don't know if there will be a game played on Saturday back at Intuit Dome. Some are saying, when's Kawhi coming back? When's Kawhi coming back? That's what we're talking about. I don't know. Maybe sports are too important for some. Maybe myself. I don't know. If this doesn't put things in perspective for you, nothing will. You're listening to AM 570 LA Sports.
Make me see what I want, slip, slide to it swiftly. Felt it in my hips, so I dip back to my back.
Remember rapping Duke? The hard, you never thought that hip hop would take it this far.
I think some people are missing the point. Some are like, Adam, you're just blaming this loss on the Fires? Well, how many losses are you going to blame on them? The next one? Is that going to be because of the Fire next? The next one after that? Maybe what I'm trying to say is I don't care about the losses right now. I'm not focused on it. Others are more understanding and saying people are losing everything. Basketball is just a recreational activity. It is escapism. Sure, it's also big business with professional athletes that have families and homes, and their lives are changed too. I don't know. Maybe if the Clippers didn't lose by 23, yeah, we'd be breaking down what happened in the fourth quarter and execution stuff. But they lost 126-103 in Denver to the Nuggets. While we have a moment, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on AM 570 LA Sports.
LA Clippers basketball. AM 570 KLAC Los Angeles, 98.7 KYSR HD2 Los Angeles, and iHeart radio station.
Why am I not surprised that the same person, like I should just block them, right? Why am I giving in to the vocal minority? Same person say basketball players get paid millions. It's not just recreational sport at that level. Okay. The block button is your friend. When you humanizing humans, it shouldn't be a thing. They aren't that different than you. The same person is saying, is this Ty Lue's excuse for the loss or just Adams? They got that in before the block set in, I guess. Damn, I lost. Other people saying, are you serious to that guy? Liberty Kimball. Here's a man with some sense. Jonathan Ing at Clippers Talk on the YouTube side says, Kimball, the players are human also and struggle with the same things we deal with. There are a ton of things bigger than basketball tonight. It'd be nice if more people recognize that. Now, I do understand. You want a distraction. Maybe even just being able to lash out and get mad at these millionaire players is enough for you to not think about the horrific scene in Los Angeles right now with the wildfires. Okay. I still don't want you in the chat spamming like this. There's been too many of those people in here. We're looking for post-game audio from Coach Lou. Let's hear from him pre-game, though, going into this one as the Clippers fall 126-103 in Denver to the Nuggets.
I mean, like I said, we know we have a task at hand, but a lot of people are affected by what's going on. And so everyone handles it different. And like I said, we know we have a game that we have to play, that we want to win. And so just give everything we got, despite it's hard to put things like this behind you, when so many people are affected. But it's something we got to try to do tonight. It's going to be tough. I'm not sure if we'll be able to do it or not. So, but we got to go out there and compete, at a high level and give everything we got.
I think guys wanted to play hard. I think the intent was there. I think it's mostly a lack of execution in Denver being at their best from three. 17 of 35. I think they started 10 of 13 from three. Sometimes, even without Nikola Jokic, you get into a game against a team that starts playing differently than you expected because we didn't know if Jokic was going to play until about an hour beforehand. Been nursing an illness, and the Clippers ran into a team that was playing even faster, that was spreading you out, playing 5 out when Dario Saric was out there at the three-point line too. And the Clippers got jumped in Denver by a team that played much better. Lon Murray talked with Coach Lou post-game. Coach Lou said, losing 4 of 5, all on the road. He attributes that to the dog days of the season and that players are struggling with the expanded roles taking a physical toll. The team needs to get back to establishing that defensive mindset and get through it. Opportunity to do that at home. Yeah, the Clippers have been losing more as of late. Law pointed out, this isn't about just tonight. It's about the course of the whole season. The Clippers haven't played consistently well for a month now. That's all fair. There's a difference between excusing tonight's loss and just saying, what does it matter in the grand scheme of things? That's kind of what I'm talking about. If you needed to talk about it, because this is a sports station, we can try to cover what's been going on with the Clippers. As I have been highlighting, the lack of rebounding over the last 15 games, as I go into distract and deflect mode, they haven't been good in that area. They haven't been close to where they were the first 15 games of the season, where they were one of the best teams on the boards. And over the last 15 games now, I want to say heading into this one, they were just 20th in in rebounding percentage overall. And they remain 20th in rebounding percentage after tonight. I'm not sure if that's been updated yet on NBA.com with the advanced numbers. But defensively, there's been slippage too. And those two things can go together. Rebounding and closing out possessions is all a part of this. You look at their defensive rating, last 15, they're 8th. It's not a ton of slippage there. They're 8th over the last 10 games too. Are they 8th over the last 5 games, no matter how you cut it? Okay, so since they've lost 4 of the last 5, so this doesn't include tonight's game, but heading into this one, they were 1-4 their last 5. Yeah, that's right. So it does include this one. They've lost 4 or 5. So the last 5 games, they're 19th defensively. There it is. It is pretty much the last 5 games where the Clippers have been noticeably worse defensively. And that's why Coach Lue is attributing it to the dog days of the season, players struggling with the expanded roles, taking a physical toll, and the team needs to get back to that defensive mindset and get through it. Offensively, over the last 5 games, the Clippers are 28th. So they've actually even been worse on that end, too. It makes sense. They have gotten dismantled by some of these teams lately for different reasons. The only win they've had the last 5 games was Kawhi's first game back. They're 1-1 so far with him. Last Saturday against the Atlanta Hawks, 131-105. Outside of that, the game against San Antonio on the second night of a back-to-back where they lost 122-86. Big loss. And I thought part of the reason that happened was because they got into a dogfight with the team with the worst record in the league at that time in New Orleans the night before, where they got down early, had to come back and win eventually 116-113 over the Pelicans. So not great focus there. They didn't even really show up against San Antonio, and Wemby had as many points as the Clippers had in that first quarter with 17. Then they lose by 18 in Oklahoma City Thunder, or in OKC to the Thunder, after I want to say they led by 14 in the first half. But it was down to a 2 or 4 point lead 24 minutes in. And then third and fourth quarter, OKC's defense was too good. Remember, they were about to play Boston, I think, the very next night. And they might have been overlooking the Clippers in the first half. But when they clicked in, they ran away with it. They won by 18. Then there's the Hawks game. Then they lost close to the Minnesota Timberwolves, but they led that game by 19. And now tonight they lose by 23. So, yeah, I'm not just going to say everything that happened tonight is in a vacuum and they've been playing great basketball outside of it. No, they haven't. You're not going to play great basketball for every stretch of the regular season. Coach Lue said, dog days right now. Expanded roles. Guys hitting the empty meter on the gas tank. We'll see what happens moving forward. They got 2 days off. We don't even know if they'll be playing on Saturday against the Charlotte Hornets back at Intuit Dome. More on that coming up. We'll take a quick timeout. Clippers lose 126-103 in Denver to the Nuggets. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to AM 570 LA Sports.
Arms are heavy, there's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous. But on
Clippers' minds might have been elsewhere tonight than in Denver, where they lost by 23 to the Nuggets without Nikola Jokic. As wildfires rage here in Southern California. I'm Adam Osland. This is Clippers Talk on AM 570 LA Sports. If you need wildfire coverage, please tune into KFI AM 640, our sister station. Clippers lose 126 to 103 in Denver to the Nuggets. They were down by 14 after the first quarter. They were down by as many as 25 in the first half, as many as 29 in the second half, where by the midway point of the third quarter, this one was all but over. Clippers have lost 4 of 5 over that span. In fact, going back the last 6 games, they've been a bottom 10 defense. They haven't looked like themselves. The attention to detail hasn't been good enough. Some of you are pointing to that fourth quarter where they had 12 turnovers to the Golden State Warriors and almost gave that game away. It's weird because at the time I said a win is not a win. And I thought that was really alarming. And a lot of people try to tell me, Adam, doesn't mean anything. We sure about that now? How about now? Was that indicative of or telling of things to come? They haven't looked good for a bit. They've been worse on offense, even worse over this stretch too. So they already were a bottom 10 offense on the season. But their top 5 defense was keeping them afloat. Now when the defense goes the other direction and becomes bottom 10 with their offense, there you go. They've lost 4 or 5. They're losing tough road games too. You got to account for that. San Antonio, Thunder, in Denver tonight. The lone game that they won in their last 5 was at home against the Atlanta Hawks. But yeah, I think they're going through a little bit of a rut overall. The defensive rating will tell you that. This is unlike what we've seen throughout the majority of the season. It's not one thing. It's not Kawhi's back and threw everything off. He's played 2 games. They're 1-1, and they played amazingly in his first game against the Atlanta Hawks. I think it's a lot of moving parts. I think it's a lot of changes and maybe some guys hitting the wall at the same time. Some fatigue, tired legs. Beats Zubats has been vocal with his frustration with some of the effort around him, where it turns Ivica Zubats into a guy that has to guard 2 people because somebody else gets beat off the dribble by their man who's going to get an easy layup unless Ivica Zubats steps in. He does, but then people blame him for leaving his man, who then, like DeAndre Jordan in this one, is found by the driving player for an easy bucket. What is he supposed to do? Guard them both? He does do it sometimes. Rarely gets credit for it, but he can't do it all the time. I haven't liked the overall defensive effort lately. I didn't need to see the numbers to know that. I would like to see opponent 3-point shooting numbers over the last 5 and 6 games now, because there could be something to that too. The Clippers overall this season have had some fluky shooting go in their favor. Perhaps it's starting to normalize a little bit, which means instead of teams shooting 34% against them from 3, one of the best marks in the league, what's it been the last 6 games, opponent 3-point percentage against the Clippers? What's it been? Now they're 25th there. Teams have been shooting 38.3% against the Clippers the last 6 games. Okay. So that includes 2 wins by them against Atlanta, against the Golden State Warriors. What about the last 5 games where they are 1-4? Okay. You take out one game, and they're still 20th. Teams are shooting 37% from three against them. It's not nothing. Things I've been waiting to happen. I told you at the start of the season, I'm a little concerned they can't keep up this rebounding. They don't have the personnel to be this good. I was also concerned about them being a top 5 defense, continuing to be one without Kawhi Leonard. I didn't think that was possible. To their credit, they pretty much have been. But as of late, there has been slippage. Bottom 10 defense the last 5, the last 6 games. On the season, though, they are still 4th. And they've only had Kawhi for 2 games. So I was wrong there. But if you're looking for the simplest answer as to why the Clippers are struggling, they're playing good opponents on the road. Teams are shooting better from 3 against them. That could be slippage on the defensive end, or it could just be law of averages starting to go against them, because I've looked at the guarded 3 percentage by the Clippers, and they were like middle of the pack when it came to how many of those threes were contested, yet teams were still shooting really poorly from 3 against them throughout most of the season, regardless of if they're open threes or not. Sometimes the averages go with you, sometimes they go against you. I feel like teams were due to start hitting more of those open three-pointers against the Clippers. Maybe it's because defensively they haven't been as physical lately. And that is what their secret sauce is for getting teams shooting a low percentage from 3, because they take out their legs. Not literally, not like Draymond or something, or Pods. I know you guys are thinking about him right now. Not in a dirty way. They just wear you down as the game goes along because of their ball pressure, because of how tough they are with their physicality. It could be that. I think part of it, though, I'm guessing part of it, and maybe I'll do a show on this tomorrow, and I'll dig deeper into the analytics on just what teams are shooting recently on open threes compared to the majority of the season. Because obviously, yes, even outside of tonight's conclusion or result, which had its own unique set of circumstances attached to it, outside of that, the Clippers defense just hasn't been great lately. It hasn't been what we've seen the majority of this season. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back. More Clippers talk here on AM 570 LA Sports.
And all the Philly steaks you can eat.
Back in school, we used to dream about this every day.
I don't know what you heard about me. Put up, can't get $1 out of me.
You guys want to know about a real one? Noah Eagle hit me up during the break, making sure I'm staying safe during these wildfires here in Southern California. I hope you and your family are safe. I hope we can understand there's things much bigger than sports and basketball. And yes, it sucks the Clippers lost by 23, but now there's a new fire in Studio City, apparently. I mean, they're just popping up all over the place. And the first responders are already spread thin. For more on this, go to KFI AM 640. It's just, I have a real hard time just talking basketball right now. I want a distraction too. But when I see Kawhi Leonard leaving to be with his family, you got to have empathy for that. You can't just look at them as robotic, faceless millionaire athletes or something. People too. I'm not just saying this because it's Kawhi and he's a Clipper. I don't care if any player wanted to leave. If Russell Westbrook wanted to come back to Southern California tonight, who plays for Denver now. Like, come on. Where are your priorities? Criticizing these people, slandering them. I'm not trying to get sanctimonious or preach too much tonight. I am an idiot. I don't know why anyone would listen to me. But there should just be the smallest amount of compassion, I would think, even from anonymous weirdos on the outskirts of the internet. But I'm asking for too much, even on a night like tonight. Still get people in here that the first thing they ask is, when's Kawhi back? All right. I get it. Some of you want the distraction. That's why you're here. We'll get back to it. Clippers lose by 23. 126 to 103 was your final in Denver to the Nuggets. There's a developing situation, obviously, with a Rams playoff game coming up this weekend, a Lakers game tomorrow night at Staples Center. And they're taking on the Hornets first before the Clippers are scheduled to see them at Into a Dome on Saturday. We don't know if these things are going to be happening. And let's bring in Daniel West, our producer here, for an update on that ball game tomorrow night with the Lakers. What is the latest here?
The last official word seems to be from about an hour ago, which is that the Lakers are canceled shoot around, but there hasn't been any talks about postponing the game yet, or at least it hasn't been announced yet.
What about, it sounds like they already are developing a backup plan for the Rams.
Yeah, so for the Rams, they're supposed to play Monday night here at SoFi, and the NFL has released a statement with their communication saying that they're monitoring it, and if they have to, they'll move it Monday night to State Farm Stadium in Arizona.
Gotcha. It is fluid, as they say in the news industry. We'll keep you abreast of the situation for another 5 minutes here before we leave you here on Clippers Talk. Some people saying LA just needs a little break. Others saying I'd be shocked if the Hornets game takes place. Just devastating, horrific, tragic scene going on right now, and kind of surrounded by it right here in Burbank. Well, cross our fingers, so far so good. Griffith Park, I mean, it's right next door.
Yeah, this is probably the one spot. I live in Pasadena, and I drove this morning across the freeway, and the smoke dissipated as soon as I got to Glendale. So it does seem to be moving, at least this is early in the day, and we're not news people here, but it seemed to be moving east. So you heard more reports about Irwindale evacuations and moving towards the 210 that way as opposed to Glendale area. But it's popping up everywhere, Adam. We saw in the Hollywood Hills, you can find on X the initial photos and videos that people were taking, and there's nothing around that would signify there's a fire going to start.
And that's what's so scary.
Yeah.
how quickly incendiary these things can get out of nowhere. So I think everybody's a little bit on edge, and maybe that accounts for some of the disgusting behavior on social media tonight that I have tried to stamp out. But like, I get it, guys. You want the distraction. I'm planning on doing Clippers talk the next 2 days. I'm planning on it. This is what I do. This is what I'm here for. For the real information, KFI, AM 640, your local news stations. This is the time to be informed about these things in your surrounding areas. Please listen to the authorities. Do the best you can. And worry about the people you love. Let the game be in the background a little bit. This Clippers team, yes, they lost tonight. They've lost 4 or 5. I don't know. I feel heartless focusing it all on the game. It just seems so insignificant right now. It really does. I'm thinking about wanting to get home to my cat. You're making these escape plans, thinking about what's important, what isn't, what do you need to take with you? That's what we're dealing with here in Southern California. So for those that just want to talk about something else, I understand that side of it, but just know it's difficult right now because it feels like we're still in the eye of the firestorm. And even though the winds have died down to some degree, we're seeing more and more of these situations. So KFI AM 640 for that. One last distraction tonight. Daniel West, tell us how the West will be won. Give us an update on the conference standings.
That we've done. 17. Wolves right behind them, 19 and 17. 9 Warriors, 18 and 18, and then the Spurs, who played tonight and lost to the Bucks, are at 18 and 19. So those are the top 10.
Thank you, Daniel West. So the ramifications of the Clippers losing this game. It was the 4th game against Denver. The regular season series is over. I told you when this game was scheduled, or when they got that extra game coming out of the play-in, or excuse me, the in-season tournament, where the Clippers had already beaten Denver twice with 1 game remaining, and then they got an extra, what that would mean. Well, unfortunately, it came to fruition here. Denver won the last 2 games in this regular season series. So instead of the Clippers, who looked to have already locked up that head-to-head tiebreaker, now it reverts to conference record, where the Clippers now are 14 and 16 against the West, and the Denver Nuggets are 14 and 10. So it's looking, unfortunately, like a difficult situation for the Clippers if it comes down to that tiebreaker with Denver. Clippers lose tonight, 126-103 in Denver to the Nuggets. Before we get out of here, I do want to thank the Clippers organization, Ralph Lawler, Brian Seaman, Noah Eagle. Appreciate you, bro, for hitting me up. Carlo Jimenez, my guy. Safe travels back. I want to thank most of the people in the chat that were bringing some common sense to the conversation. And Daniel West, our producer here in Burbank. Be safe, everyone. Hope to talk to you tomorrow at Clippers Talk on YouTube.